So another exciting day of E3 and another show. Today I'm joined by Matt, Ben and Alex, and we're going to be talking the Ubisoft conferences and the PC gaming show. So let's get straight into the games. So today we're going to be talking the PC Gaming Show and Ubisoft, both conferences that had a lot of new releases. Do you guys see the conferences at all?
No.
Alright, so this is going to be really good. So we're going to be starting off the PC Gaming Show, and they had absolutely loads to announce. So we're not going to be covering everything, but I'm going to be covering the main big games that they wanted to talk a lot about. And many of the big releases that many people are excited for. And then Ubisoft, they've just, come to town this year with a load of new exclusive games that look absolutely awesome. So we'll start off the PC Gaming Show, we'll get right into it this time. XCOM 2 has a new expansion pass. It's called XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Did any of you play XCOM at all, Matt? I know you have.
Yes, I played the first one to completion twice and halfway through on Iron Man mode, and then XCOM 2 I played a bit, not a lot, I played a bit.
So maybe this will encourage you to get back to the XCOM series, maybe.
Well, I played both 1 and 2, but never completed either.
Do you know?
Always got to the point of everything being absolutely destroyed, and then...
Fair enough.
First one took me a while to complete,
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
So, it is a new expansion for XCOM 2. It's a large expansion. It's the largest expansion ever, twice the size of the last expansion. I don't know how big the last expansion is in terms of gameplay, but apparently it's twice the size, so XCOM fans are going to have a lot more gameplay to keep themselves occupied with.
Sure.
There are 3 main enemies that you fight against. They all have different abilities in different ways that they fight. And what's quite interesting about this gameplay mechanic is the fact that they have their own individual ways of fighting. So you have to change your strats as to how you fight each of these 3 main bosses. And then throughout the game, you will fight them over and over again. And each time they'll learn a bit more and they'll become a little bit smarter. So you were talking about being destroyed and then just kind of leaving it. Late game, these guys are going to be really fucking smart, and I assume you're going to get destroyed a lot unless you know what you're doing in the XCOM universe.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's basically all they really said. I mean, you have access to 3 of the most powerful soldiers in XCOM. I'm not exactly sure who they are or what they do because I'm not a massive XCOM player. But the new gameplay features resource management for the Warlock character. There is a Warlock character who looks pretty badass. He does what you'd imagine a Warlock character to do, does magical stuff and explodes shit and very, very generic. But I assume they'll put an XCOM twist on there.
I always felt like the combat was probably the best part,
Yeah.
the easiest part for me, I think. I think the thing that I kind of struggled with was the micromanagement of each individual country.
Yeah.
Because there was so many things you had to worry about, all on the screen at any one time. If you, missed the slightest thing, it could quickly derail the entire campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. I didn't play a lot of XCOM, to be honest. But there is also a big faction called the Lost, and they're kind of like mutant zombie things. Yep. And they within combat, they will be attracted to combat. But the good thing is, when they do show up to combat, and likelihood is they will, and in masses, the likelihood is that they will not only just attack you, they will attack your enemy as well. So that's going to open you up to, 1, you have got 2 enemies to fight now, but if you're smart enough and if the opportunity arises, you can then use those enemies to fight your enemies, if that makes sense. You can use them to your advantage to maybe get the edge on your enemy, as it just becomes a massive free-for-all at that point.
One of the main things I could help with is, I remember there was an enemy like the chrysalids or something.
Yes.
Huge insect things that
they were very difficult to deal with.
They would just run at you with swarms, and if they got close enough to you, you would just immediately get killed. No extra
You'd be turned into a zombie. One of their main annoying abilities with the chrysalids, they would turn people into zombies with they were 10 health and attack or something like that. But they were quite powerful and difficult to deal with if loads of chrysalids took down civilians if you were doing a civilian run or something.
They had movement speed for days as well.
Yeah, they went really fast.
Yeah, so this new expansion is coming August 29th, 2017 on PS4, Xbox, and PC. And now, also, a little thing that I picked up from the gameplay and the trailer they showed is one of the 3 chosen big enemies that you fight. One of them has, it looks like a Halo sword. It looks like they dual wield fucking Halo swords, which looks pretty badass. I'm not exactly sure, what their move and skill set is going to be and how difficult they're going to be, but they look pretty fucking badass. So, I don't know, you interested in getting back into XCOM at all?
Yeah, I want to play the second one again. Like, I enjoyed the multiplayer in the first one, and the second one, multiplayer is slightly improved. So, like, I'd like to get into that, because with multiplayer, you can sort of, like, pick and choose what things you want to use to, like, attack the enemy with.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder if you'll be able to use them in that sort of mode, but I don't know. They sound like they'd be, like, really fast, like chrysalids, and try and do loads of melee damage.
Yeah, the other thing I haven't looked into too much about the second one is just how extended they've gone with, like, psychic abilities, and what was the other one? It was, like, cybernetically enhancing people, so you either had, like, the kind of psychic thing going on, or you had people in mechs, like, going around with
they went really in depth with that. Like,
so I kind of want to know,
enjoyed.
like, just how in depth they've gone with that.
Yeah, and as an expansion, you wouldn't imagine they've gone crazy in depth, but I don't know. If they did say, as I say, it's twice as big as any expansion or the last expansion. So maybe this you could class this as part of the main game almost. It might be that big. It might give players another good. Well, how long was the first or second XCOM game? Like, was it a long game at all? I never finished
I
it.
think it was fairly large.
Yeah.
Depends on how long you took to complete each mission, but relatively long.
Yeah,
so
depending on your skill level, it varied.
Plus difficulty.
Yeah, and it's nice to see XCOM back, to be honest, because when it first came out, I got really interested in it, and I loved watching it. It's a very interesting game to watch and to play as well. So, and XCOM's kind of gone dark, I think. I haven't heard anything on XCOM in ages.
Yeah, what they do with their projects, like with XCOM 1, they brought out XCOM, and then they added the Enemy Within? Yeah, Enemy Within expansion to it, which just added like a couple of no enemies and added like a couple of things.
That was where they brought in the mechs, was it?
Yes, I think so. There
also
was
more in depth with all like the biological enhancement and things. With,
yeah,
like,
they went sort of like that, and then in XCOM 2 they just expanded on that.
Yeah,
even
that's
further.
why I want to see if this new add-ons like had that kind of area interact with it a bit more. 'Cause if it's twice as big as the last one, and you've got both, mechanical monsters going around with Gatling guns on each arm, and people, controlling each other, and telekinetically mind fucking people.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see how that interacts with like these Lost or just anything that they've introduced.
Well, Alex, you'll find out on August 2017. Yeah! So, another game that they announced was called Battletech. Now, Battletech seems quite interesting. It's a modern-day turn-based tactical game. So, it's set up into grids, a lot like Civ is. And basically, what you're going to do is you have like 2 teams, and you have this big-ass mech suit, which you go into combat with, and it's like a turn-based, with the grids, and you've got a certain amount of turns. We've all played those kind of games on PC, yeah?
Right.
So as a campaign is included, along with 2 other multiplayer game modes. They showed us a little snippet of a multiplayer game mode that they have in the game. It's a open world space game, which is kind of interesting to see how they'll work that in, because from what I've seen, it's basically you go back onto your ship in space, and you can upgrade your mech through doing like campaign missions and multiplayer game modes and things like that, and winning matches. So you can take jobs and upgrade your ship, but when you go into combat, it's that turn-based kind of gameplay that we've seen in games like Civ, where it's in the grid form and things like that. So it'll be quite interesting to see how they integrate open world space with the grid format and turn-based like combat. I don't know how that's going to work. What are you thinking? Well,
unless they use different formatting for like the exploration as well as the gridding. Unless, because gridding space, quite a feat. But yeah, as long as they keep it down on lock. Like if they have the exploration. Did you say that the mech was upgraded through both campaign and multiplayer?
I would assume so. They didn't confirm that, but they did say that you can go back to your ship and upgrade your mech by doing different jobs, different things within the game.
It's consistent between both modes then. Both
I
campaign
do believe
and
so.
multiplayer.
I do believe so. Not going to confirm anything, but I would assume so. It would be nice to have that, wouldn't it, feature?
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of having to work, your ass off for both
Twice.
campaign and multiplayer.
Yeah, but that's a very weird way of doing it, because then somebody could just like grind out the solo campaign and then either be underlevel because other people grind the hell out of multiplayer, and maybe they get more from multiplayer than they do campaign.
Then again, with unlockables in any multiplayer / campaign game, you've kind of got different parameters for everything that you unlock. So say like, I don't know, the Call of Duty franchise, not ever popular. So you've got guns in campaign that you can get like relatively piss easy, right?
Yeah.
But then you go into multiplayer and suddenly you have to work your ass off in order to get up to the higher ranks and get like the nicest guns. Basically just to like prove yourself in multiplayer almost. Like, there's people worrying about kill death ratios and stuff. So maybe they'll have different parameters, but it would be quite nice to see them break that mold and have like a consistent mech throughout both modes.
Yeah, and 2 little gameplay features I really like, to be honest. I think it's going to create some really cool like tactics to be made and some really interesting battles to be taking place, because you can use the environment as like a shield. So say there's a little bit of a forest area, you can move your mech to the forest area, and then if you get attacked within that forest, the trees will like shield you a little bit from the damage.
So it's a lot like Civilization then, because Civilization would like it would give you bonuses through forests and whatever terrain you're on. Like say you're on a hill, it would give you like whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So you can use the environment, to really either fuck yourself over, maybe, if you back yourself into a corner, you're going to be screwed, or to really help you in combat. And also, so your mech has like weapons on its like left arm, right arm, for instance, it's the right leg, maybe its torso. And if the enemy, say you've got like a minigun on your right arm, if the enemy attacks your right arm and your right arm comes off, then obviously you're going to lose that weapon. So it's going to...
Wow.
It's going to really have to make you... It's not going to be one of those turn-based games where it's not going to be an easy one, that's what I'm trying to say. It's going to be... you've got to think about what you're doing, because if you say you have like your main weapon on your right arm and then that goes, you've got to have a backup plan.
Yeah, but then that's kind of like a weak sort of business plan, I suppose, because then you're going to have less players going into the game, because every single time they go into it, they'll lose another weapon that they've like grinded out to get.
You can get it back. It's just within that particular like.
Oh, is it
game.
Just within that fight?
Yeah, you can then repair your mech afterwards, and use the resources to upgrade it again and all that stuff. But you won't lose it. It's not like a permanent.
If we're talking difficulty, limiting your player base though, Dark Souls.
Yeah,
love difficulty. Like, if they love a good challenge, and then people who actually do get past certain missions and things,
especially people who play like these turn-based kind of games, they are normally quite a challenge, aren't they?
Yeah, it's bragging rights, isn't it? It's like if you can go to someone and say, "Oh, I completed," the all 3 Dark Souls games, you can then turn around and be like, well, they were supposedly challenging, and you could just play that off, really.
Yeah. So it is looking quite interesting. I wouldn't mind getting into it, and you can get into it. In fact, if you go to battletechgame.com, you can go play the beta now. I mean, it might be something we can all have a look at playing, because it does look quite interesting.
Free, then?
I do believe the beta is free, yeah. They didn't give an actual date as to when it's coming out, but at the moment within the beta stage, I'm assuming it's going to be an ongoing process. A lot like most PC games, they come out early access in beta or alpha, and then they go from there. Right. So I assume as the community builds, then E3 is going to give it a lot of publicity within the PC community. I'm assuming they'll add more game modes or different game mechanics, maybe features, mechs, all that stuff.
So it's a working process then?
Yeah, it does look like it's a very working process. From the gameplay they showed, it does look like a pretty fleshed out game already.
Yeah.
But as it's you can play the beta, it's still in beta. I'm assuming that game has a lot of potential, I think.
Yeah. Then again, they may have rushed it to flesh it out in order to showcase it for E3.
Yeah.
So there's that factor. Yeah. It could be worth a look.
Yeah, but always worth a look. So. Next game on our list is Total War Warhammer 2. Have you guys ever got into a Warhammer game?
Definitely.
Because for a long time I've wanted to get into a Warhammer game, and I just haven't. I haven't had the money to play it, I haven't had the time to play it. But Warhammer 2, it's coming 28th of September 2017, so pretty fucking close. It's not going to be very long, next end of summer. So I might get into Warhammer 2. It's looking really cool. So it's doubling down on what made the first game fun. So it have all the really good mechanics of the first game that all the players of Warhammer really love. But they're going to be adding 4 new factions I can't remember exactly which. I think there's like lizard people. They're adding some sort of elf race or something like that.
Wow.
And then they said that a couple more are yet to be released.
Yeah, see, they already had quite a bloody few.
Yeah.
So adding 4 more is probably either scratching the bottom of the barrel or they're genuinely just geniuses.
Yeah, and you are going to be able to play, if you own the first game, you are going to be able to play all the races and all your like characters from the first game and the second game as well.
Yeah.
So any races you may have in the first game, you will be able to play in the second game as well. It's going to be like, crossed like that. And there's a
So it
new
won't be like
campaign as well.
expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There is a new campaign as well that features allow you to explore and discover to become more powerful. I'm not exactly, because from what I've seen of Warcraft, it's massive, big-scale battles, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how the exploration discovery is played into that game.
Well, how familiar are you with Total War as just a general franchise?
Not crazy familiar, to be honest.
Yeah, it's basically all about the large scale fights.
Is it?
Small scale fights aren't their deal. It's
Yeah.
literally numbers against numbers,
Yeah.
basically.
That's what I love about it. Like, I have seen gameplay and things like that, and that's why I have really wanted to get into it, because it does look absolutely badass with massive, large-scale fights.
Yeah.
And I know this is PC, but with current tech as it is, I'm assuming they're going to be pushing this game as far as it possibly can go to get as the biggest fights we can possibly get. So what else we got here? New feat creatures within the large scale battles, and like creatures in like some of the lizard people have their own little. They're like an alien race that have their own mounts and all that stuff. So we've got alien dinosaurs, basically like being ridden into battle by these lizard people. It looks fucking awesome. That's about all they really said about Warhammer 2. I assume like if you're a big Warhammer fan, you're gonna be very excited for this. They didn't really give a lot of information for new players coming into it.
Yeah.
But they did give a really badass gameplay.
So it's definitely directed at already like pre-existing fans.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, dinosaurs in any game is going to generate hype.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I bet that when they were coming up in the drawing board with any idea, they thought dinosaurs.
Yeah.
They were in, basically.
Yeah, dinosaurs, everyone loves.
With things like Ark Survival Evolved being like ever prominent, and they also talked about Ragnarok.
Yeah.
They're in.
Yeah,
Dinosaurs
they're absolutely in.
right
And,
now.
Especially with what's it called? It's a new PC game that's come out, quite a small one, where you literally just generate like
That simulator
thousands of fields. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Battle Simulator, or it's not totally actually Battle Simulator, but it's like
Yeah, I get the one you're on about.
it's
but
the other one.
Yeah, I do get the one you're on about, but
Yeah.
like that. You know how earlier you said about pushing it to its limit?
Yeah.
That is relatively within the same grounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because people have been putting out like mad numbers in there.
Oh yeah, like tens of thousands.
Yeah, and this is something that's been going on for years and years. So they've probably got a few, tricks up their sleeve for the numbers.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And especially with that game coming out, people who weren't into these games before are now coming into this kind of area, this kind of genre, and expecting big, massive, large-scale battles, and it's really fun to watch.
With the amount of games coming out with the similar sort of like play style and that, though, it's kind of becoming more of the mainstream.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, it's very much like up until this year. I think I haven't seen many games that can do that. Large scale battles where you just render in a load of like soldiers and let them fight.
Yeah, now that's quite a
But
few.
now it's becoming a lot more popular now, isn't it?
For sure.
And I think now is a good time to do it, because with all the technology, we have really powerful PCs now. You can do that. Beforehand you couldn't do that effectively, and now we can start pushing limits as far as it possibly can go, and see like massive, large scale battles that we see in like Lord of the Rings, and everyone wants to reenact.
You reenact their
Those
fantasies.
kind of, exactly. It's one of the first things I'll be doing as soon as I get a game like that.
Cool.
Just reenacting like Battle of 5 armies from the
Yeah,
Hobbit.
exactly. Who doesn't want to see
know?
who doesn't want to see like orcs and humans?
Yeah,
and things just,
exactly, like-
fighting out and.
What gamer doesn't want that? So
Exactly.
They didn't have a whole load, obviously, to say and to show, but they did show some badass things, and enough to get people on the bandwagon. And I'm definitely on the bandwagon for Warhammer 2. So this is a game that I know, Ben, you've got experience in as well, and I don't know if you two do, but Players Unknown Battlegrounds.
Yep.
I've played a fuck ton of that. They're improving that game massively, and I knew they were dedicated to improving that game hugely, but I never knew exactly what they were going to do. But just quickly before we actually go into the information, from seeing that game, from playing that game, what was like the top 3 things you want to see changed about that game or improved about that game? Because there is a lot of improvement that could be made.
Optimization.
Yeah.
The game runs like a piece of turd, like it is. until they upgrade or make the optimization better, I'm not going to be happy with it because it's such a key part of the game. And I know graphics aren't everything, but it makes it so much harder to play with just how it runs. It's just not good.
You lose your immersion on it, don't you?
You really do. Like it could be such a beautiful game. Like the buildings are really nice. They look really cool. There's open fields with loads of nature, and it's just like it just looks terrible. And even when you've got a really good PC running at top graphics, it like just doesn't run well.
Destructible environments as well. Doors and things.
That'd be kind of cool.
That would be amazing.
You can break
That
down
would be
doors.
cool.
You can.
You can throw nades at doors and it blows them up, but blown up buildings.
Yeah, maybe you throw a grenade
I
at like a wall and then it shatters.
I mean,
into
Rainbow
a
Six
few
Siege
pieces.
style shooting through, like having.
Oh, you want full on like breach charges and everything.
No. I mean, like, as in, if you could fire through walls, like obviously,
you can shoot through.
It would be
like,
dependent
wood
on the
and
gun
things
you're using, obviously.
Yeah.
But there would be kind of like the tiniest bullet holes. But then you could like, if you knew exactly where someone's hiding out in like the next room, like in a bathroom or something, sitting there in the bathtub thinking he's away from you.
Yeah.
Suddenly you poke the gun straight at the wall. You know your gun's high enough caliber in order to pierce the wall. Bang, they're dead. Something
That
like
would be a cool gameplay mechanic.
Exactly. Also, the other thing is that I saw gameplay of it where a door was being destroyed as well. I mean, they've already got that much. I'm just thinking, like, you can shoot through doors now already, more or less. I was just thinking, like, that could be something that they could work on slightly.
Yeah. That would be actually really cool. But for the optimization goes, they have said that before these updates come within the next couple of months, they are working on stabilizing the game and the servers. So optimization within the next month, 2 months will be greatly improved to the point where they're very happy with it, and the servers will be greatly improved as well because some of the servers are unstable at the moment.
I do know that whatever they run it on or whatever it is, I can't remember the name, but I know it's notorious for running games really badly, so I think they definitely need to sort that out. And
they did say they had player unknown himself interviewed him at the conference, and he did say that I do realise the game does run a bit like shit at the moment, but that is exactly, look it up now,
something else I wish they well, they're probably not going to because I'm probably the only person with this complaint, but it's the number of people in the game. Like it makes it, I mean, I guess it's okay, but it's like the fact that you've got like 50 people still left when it's like the second to last circle, it kind of takes away the tactical element, I think, and it's a lot more gung-ho run and gun. And I know that's what some people prefer, but for me, I prefer a slower paced, more tactical game, but that may just be
Then again, in that same vein though, another thing that you could change based on what you said is that you could have different game modes. So different numbers of players dependent on which game mode you wanted to go for.
Yeah, you can have like different groups, so whether like it's solo, duo, or squad. But I get what you mean about like
as in like if there's like
people.
There's like different words or something like there's a death match which is like maybe like 20 people or something.
Yeah.
And then there's like battle royale for like large scale.
Yeah.
But if they have like different numbers like attached to different types, then you could probably like more personalize it to the kind of like game you're looking for almost. And maybe that could help with some players.
It would be nice to see some more game modes. I know that they recently tested like the zombie game mode, where it's like you've got a squad of people and then everyone else is a zombie. And I've seen gameplay on that, and that looks absolutely terrifying.
I think a hardcore mode could also be quite cool. So like no HUD, first person only.
Yeah.
You have to like no reload count. Like you need like just proper hardcore pretty much. And I think that'd be quite cool.
Well, they did also confirm that they are opening up to modding when the game's a little bit more fleshed out and a little bit more complete, because it is only in early access alpha at the moment. So I can guarantee if they don't already like put a hardcore game mode and things like that in anyway, the modding community will. Let's face it. As soon as that game's open to mods, we'll be seeing a whole array of different new ideas, that everyone's been wanting, or maybe it's a little bit of a quirky idea, that no one's really thought of, and I think that's really going to like Battlegrounds has already taken the internet by storm. It's a really popular game at the moment. I think as soon as I open it to modding, it'll become twice as popular because there's so much you can do with a game like that if you open it up to modding.
Mods can make and break a game though. Is the thing. Like it can either, like with Skyrim. You can have something as beautiful as Skyrim be made even more enhanced through modding.
But then it can also have Thomas the Tank Engine and just
well, there you go.
Shit.
It would probably be a case of having like privatized servers and things to do that kind of thing on,
Yeah.
rather than having like more public things that have been mucked around with and that kind of stuff. So probably be more friend based, which would again go back to solving your problem of like having massive games and things, because you could probably have it so that your server is privatized, but you can source players from the public matchmaking who want to see that kind of thing in a server.
Yeah.
But besides that, it probably will just be like, you know, you and your friends, more or less.
Well, I'll talk about new things that are going to be added, as well as, and I'll go on to new gameplay features, because there are new gameplay mechanics and features I'm really excited about. But so they are adding new weapons every single month, just to keep it fresh, which I quite like, because H1Z1 only had a few weapons throughout its whole existence and still only has a few weapons. So I like how they, you know, constantly adding new things to the game. And it's going to constantly, you know, change gameplay combat as well, because eventually you do get used to which gun's which, and you can work around that. But if they're bringing new weapons in every month, you're going to have to maybe change your tactics if you know that, oh, this person's got this new gun and I don't know what it does yet. So you're maybe it's going to change up.
That's just going to make it so much harder for casual play. Like I play it for fun every week or like once a week or whatever.
Yeah.
But like if they add that just means that a casual player like myself is just going to, like, because there's the difficulty aspect, but for some people they just want to hop on and have a casual game and make it fun. So
they still can.
Adding that's probably going to be
weapons,
a pain in the arse.
So what they could do then is, in the same vein of game modes and things, have it so that the newest build is in separate lists to a previous build. And so people who do want to kind of like, you know, try out the newest things before they're released like more publicly, they can go to those kind of things and, you know, try out guns and that. But for the people who aren't as quick to, you know, learn new features and things, they could probably just go to, like, you know, previous builds and things.
Yeah, it could work, yeah. And talking about new guns, there is a new gun coming out called the OTS Grosser, which, how can I explain it? It looked fucking badass. They said it's going to be effective at long to medium range. It kind of looks like an enlarged P90 with like extended mag and a sight, and like it looks. I don't think it's like. I think it might be a made-up weapon for the game. It's not an actual real weapon in real life. But I might be wrong about that. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it, but it looks fucking badass.
What's it called?
I want to rock it. The OTS Grosser. Oh yeah, look it up. See if it's an actual
while he's searching
weapon.
that though, I was just going to say that on. Remember when I said about modifications, like making or breaking games? Well, another thing that I was thinking just then is that it's kind of like backwards of what happened to Armour, because Armour started out as like, you know, just like your like simulator of small scale fights and like more like kind of military type fights, and then suddenly you get mods in and it's brung in like, you know, like zombies, like, you know, DayZ.
Yeah, DayZ, yeah.
Right? But they've already done that as like part of the base game. Like they've got like a zombie mode, right? So it's kind of like they've kind of like taken what happened to Armour but implemented it as an actual thing for the game.
Yeah.
And so when modifications come in, like, you know, they're just gonna like take that kind of like idea and probably just build on it basically.
Oh, it's fucking baller. It looks like a ball pop rifle kind of thing.
Yeah, it does look. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it looks fucking awesome. I'll put a picture up on screen so you guys can see. You'll see it in the gameplay trailer, rolling over our commentary as well. But also, as well as that, there are new weather systems. So at the moment, you've got a clear sky, and then you've got a rainy map. Those are the only two weather systems in it at the moment. But they are going to be changing that. You can now get like a clear day. You can get fog, which is going to make people who love sniping. They're going to be pissed. But it does mean that you're not going to, like, if you're playing a foggy map, you've got a very small chance of being sniped across the map from someone you don't even see.
Unless that'll bring in more chance for equipment to be a bit more viable.
Like night vision goggles and
thermal.
Yeah, that could be awesome. Sunset, which looks beautiful and will look beautiful once they've sorted out the optimization. And of course the rain is still in it. So the new weather systems are going to be changing throughout the game as well, I think. So it's not always going to be rainy, it's not always going to be foggy.
Now, one thing I didn't really look into too much about Battlegrounds is does the weather affect the driving at all? The vehicle?
No.
No.
It's pretty.
No, yeah. See,
I think
what they could do again as like an improvement is like if it was raining, for example, like you might need to go a bit steadier
Yeah.
while you're driving instead of going full pound down a road.
To be honest, if you're going over like 10 miles an hour on that game, you go flying anyway.
all the rain does is fuck up your render. It doesn't make it harder to
Well, then-
drive. Well, it makes it harder to drive because
Yeah.
you can't fucking you get 2 frames a second.
Obviously, once optimization is done, that's something that they could potentially
Definitely.
work on.
Yeah.
Is
That'd
that
be
the weather could affect it, but it depends on how anal they want to be about that. Because obviously, in like the beating sun, it could actually blow out tires and things if you're like
That
trying
could be
to tear
interesting,
them out
yeah.
and that.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's also like repairing vehicles after that as well. Like doing what Armour did with little kits and things that you could take with you to like put wheels on and
Yeah.
do whatever.
Wouldn't surprise me if they did that because the guys that made Armour made part of pubs, aren't they?
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was the guy. It was a collaboration between like guy who created Armour and H1.
Yeah.
I think who made Battlegrounds.
That
But you
doesn't
were,
surprise me why it's an improvement on
Oh,
both
yeah.
games then.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the beating sun, which is quite relevant to this. They've got 2 new maps. One of them is a desert map, and the other one is a snowy map, which
Wow.
I'm fucking excited about because at the moment the map is a very generic, just forests and open plains that you would expect. But gameplay in a desert map and even a snow map, how awesome would it be if unless you have like a coat on or you can find heat packs, which would obviously have to
Yeah.
be quite common to find. That maybe you slowly start losing health. That would make it like really difficult. Maybe on a hardcore mode or something.
Was it that you need to eat and drink, or is that something else?
No, you can
Nah,
take
so-
like energy drinks to boost heal, but
Yeah.
they don't affect you in
Yeah, I guess
starvation
it's
or
not that
anything.
type of game, but what they
Yeah.
could do is worry about temperature and things. So if you
Yeah.
are overheating, then it will
I think that'd have to
maybe
be a
it'll affect your
different
aim.
mode, though.
Like maybe if you're aiming, you might have a bit more shake
Yeah,
on
and
it.
if you're really cold, your aim's a bit shakier.
That would have
Yeah.
to be like a hardcore mode though, because that would just
Yeah, I think for the casual gamer,
Piss
that would
me
just
off, for
yeah,
sure.
for the casual gamer, you just get pissed off with that.
Yeah,
I don't
but-
know, if you're just going
Yeah.
in for fun, it would just annoy you.
So maybe it'd be like a toggle thing, and again, it would be probably
every
different
server,
servers.
yeah.
It's if they
Server-based.
if they change the game so drastically from what it was when someone first bought it, they're probably gonna they could possibly end up regretting their purchase because it's changed so much and it's not the game that they invested in to begin with. So that's a possibility.
Then again, they could weigh up the pros and cons, like the improvements they've made to it, and then
Yeah.
also the differences.
But then again, that might not change if they like it or not.
Yeah, so we'll just
whether
have to
it's
see,
a better
won't we?
game. Yeah.
But one thing I was thinking of is take Battlefield 1 horses.
Mhm.
Instead of just vehicles and things, what if everyone's going about
horses
on
as well.
Mules.
animals
Yeah.
and things?
Or a camel. I mean,
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
why
battle
not?
Because
camel.
they could
That'd be
they
awesome.
could carry your equipment as well.
Yeah.
You could
Ah,
put
that'd be
equipment.
awesome.
That would
Yeah.
increase the carry weight, and carry weight
Exactly.
is a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have saddlebags and things on them, and you could run around.
Just
And also, they
MGs for
could be effectively killed if you're not
Yeah.
playing your cards right.
Yeah.
So if you hide them away, but then obviously someone else could come along and
I
steal
feel
them.
like that's making it a different game to what they're possibly intending.
you
I mean,
think?
I think don't get me wrong. I think that'd be quite cool, but I think that's a different game. I don't from what pubs is now. I mean, they could update it, but
Yeah, no.
that seems to stray away from what their intent is at the minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
but I'm interested to see what these new 2 maps look like. A desert map and a snow map. They could open that up to looking absolutely beautiful and
And that might
adding
increase
different-
camo,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
now
for
there's
sure.
no use for
Yeah.
camo at
yeah,
all.
for sure.
So that might be cool.
So yeah,
Like a
really
white
interested to
ghillie
see
suit.
how it
Oh.
changes gameplay as well.
Goosebumps.
But also, finally, something I'm really fucking excited about, and mainly for the content creators, this update is. But you can now do a spectator mode, so it's a lot like CS where you can save your matches and then go back over them afterwards. After your game, you will be, it's coming soon, you'll be able to save that match and then go into cinematic mode and things like that and you should follow your character around.
I imagine that's great for montages.
Absolutely amazing, yeah. It's going to open it up to, so much more interesting content creating on YouTube. And the amount of times I've forgotten to record a match and something amazing has happened and I've got no video evidence to,
Yeah.
make a video
Could
out
save
of
you the
it.
trouble.
Yeah, it made me so disappointed. The best thing happened ever the other day and I wasn't recording. And I almost cried. I really did. It was once in a lifetime thing and I missed it. So with this gameplay mechanic in, I'm going to be, content creators and even if you want to boast to your friends and people will never believe that you got that shot, you can save that game and show your friends
Bit
later.
of insurance.
Yeah, exactly. the bragging rights, if not for content creators. So I've, from the moment I installed that game, I was really hoping they would add something like that because that's the kind of game where you can really get some good montages in and
When you're not even trying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to really open the pubs up to the gaming community even more than it already is, especially on like Twitch. It's very big at the moment. On YouTube, it's not so big though.
It's huge on Twitch. Like the amount, I'm pretty sure it's been in like the top. Probably, don't quote me on this, but it's probably been in like the top 5 since it came out.
Whenever I've gone on Twitch, it's always been
up there.
Yeah, it is huge on Twitch, and it is huge on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, like, there's so much you can do with it. On Twitch, people expect to come and see the live game. On YouTube, sometimes people want something a bit more edited, a bit more clean cut, and pubs you can't really do a lot of that with at the moment. So with this new spectator mode, you can get some cinematic shots and get some really cool stuff in.
The community's quite active for it as well, aren't they?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so you can get quite a lot of like content and things coming out from that.
Yeah. So moving on from Players Unknown Battlegrounds to Wargroove. Now, Ben, you might be interested in this one because it was created by the same guys who played Stardew or created Stardew Valley. I know you're a fan of that. So they created Stardew Valley as well. It's an online game. It's got God mod support as well, but basically what they showed at the conference was you can create your own maps and then share them to the community, and they really highlighted that because it is one of the easiest map creation systems I've ever seen. Basically, you get this you start with like a big green, 2D screen, which is the grass, and then you just have little select tabs that says like water, bridge, certain like buildings, things like that, and you literally just terraform it on the 2D screen, and they made a full scale map just by using easy tabs in 5 minutes.
Is it a bit like Prison Architects then? Almost.
A tiny bit, yeah. It's got that same kind of top down. You can build your map like that.
So there's a
feel
strategy
to
to
it.
it as well,
Yeah. But then you share that to the community, and then you go into the game, obviously, and it's like from what it looked like you had like 2 towers. You had your main guy in the tower, like your king was like the most powerful person. Once your king dies, you lose the game. I assume it's going to be a lot like that. So a game we've seen before. A lot of people have played games like that already. It's nothing really new and crazy. But what have I written down here? You can have a branching path you choose that you take your campaign. Oh, okay, yeah. So there is a campaign to it as well. And what's quite interesting is you've got different places to go to. But instead of the game deciding where you go when, you can go into your map and then decide that I want to go there next, and then there next, and create your own path as to where you want to go.
Right.
So how do you think that's going to work for, like, if there's a single player story to it, how do you think that's going to work? Because people can go to random places, so there may not be a proper story, if that makes sense.
So is it like you create a map and then someone comes in and invades it, or how does that work?
The map, they showcased the map selection just as like a standalone thing. It's a multiplayer aspect where you just create your map and share it to the community, and then you can like fight other people on that map, and people can use that map to fight on and things like that.
Yeah.
So the map creation is completely different to like the single player campaign side of it, in a way you can like select your like waypoints and things like that.
I'd imagine there's ways. Storytellers in just the general sense, if they're good at what they do, will have ways that even if you do deter from the main path and go off on your own thing, it feels meaningful, but they'll still have ways of bringing you back on the main course.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like a Telltale game. So
for sure. Yeah.
So you have kind of all these different decisions. You feel like they've meant something, then you go back and you realise you would have ended up in the same place anyways. For some of them, that's not like all of them. In my opinion, the best ones are like, you can go off in your own direction as much as possible. But yeah, I think they'll definitely have like ways of stopping players from massively derailing. But they probably will have like little bits here and there that have changed slightly per playthrough.
Yeah, and it is a very, very casual game. Like, the art style is very friendly. A lot like Stardew Valley and their other releases. They are very, they're not crazy, let's go full in
Pixels.
and try hard, and it's not all violent and all that stuff. It is a very light-hearted game. A nice art style, and I'm assuming it's going to be one of those ones you just go in for a little bit of a mess around, it's nothing, you're not going to get really competitive about it.
No.
You just go in with your friends and have a bit of fun with, and I think those developers do that really well. I mean, I haven't played Stardew Valley, but there's a lot of good feedback on Stardew Valley as being a very, chilled out game.
No, yeah, it's definitely the kind of game you play if you want to relax for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to continue that theme throughout their games, but maybe they want something a little bit different. But from the looks of this game, it is a very nice and friendly environment that anyone can go into and have a bit of fun with. So finally, on the PC gaming show kind of things, I will just list through the other releases that they announced, but we're going to only concentrate on a few of the big and interesting ones that we found interesting. So this final one is called Lone Echo. It's a VR game. So what the hell is going on here?
Keep going.
Keep rolling.
We spoke about VR yesterday, didn't we, Matt? And the fact that
spoke a bit
a lot of people don't yet
back.
have VR. What the hell is going on here?
I don't
virtual reality.
This is virtual
Splinter
reality.
my
You
knees.
actually, Ben, that's actually really fitting because this virtual reality game is in space and you're kind of
Don't have
zero
any.
gravity. Yeah,
It's very
so,
spaced.
so you play as an AI on a mining station.
That sounds
Um,
incredibly dull. I mean, good.
Well, it does sound a bit dull to be honest. But basically, it comes.
Minecraft in space.
Yeah, it's basically the big wow factor about it is VR in space. You're in space playing.
Every
as,
single VR game has space apart from Super
Yes.
Hot.
yeah.
What
But,
about that Ark one?
Even then, you're going through like maybe
Yeah, I
Dota
suppose
is
you
on
can.
VR. That is a bold statement, Matt. You can't do that in
it's a
2017.
bold strategy.
Yeah, but you're looking down at it from space, aren't you? Come on, let's be honest.
No,
But like.
fucking
What?
long vision. What
Anyway,
the fuck?
so basically you
Fucking
have
eagle.
different things
Your
you can
future
do.
self is looking at you through memories.
Wait, what did you just say? What?
Please don't, Ben.
The base.
So basically, you can it will give you different tasks to do and different things to do, and you have to do them with your hands in VR space, which I assume won't be a very long game. Let's face it, there's only so much you can do with that idea.
Most VR games these days do have quite a short
Yeah.
gameplay to them. Like,
Yeah.
what was that newest one? That Rick and Morty one that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
That was really fun.
That was amazing.
Mhm.
But it was more about exploring the environment as opposed to continuing the story.
Yeah.
The story had so much to do with it, but like the main thing that you did was mess around with everything that was on tables and cabinets and things.
Mhm.
Use all the experiments that Rick had come up with. It's not really VR at this point. Isn't about going through long ass storylines.
Yeah, it's experiencing.
It's
it, isn't it?
it's experiencing the gimmick, isn't it? It's mainly about that kind of thing.
And like me and Matt touched on this yesterday, the fact that VR games are good, but like personally, I'm not hyped for this at all because I don't own VR. Like, I don't
No.
think obviously you need to drive the VR industry forward because it's not going to go anywhere.
course.
And I know I said this yesterday. PlayStation VR are pushing it so that there is a VR system in everyone's household across the world. But as it stands at the moment, not a lot of people have VR.
The
just
price
as
tag isn't very
Exactly.
public, is it?
yeah, exactly.
Fuck the price tag.
You need to be very invested in order to actually afford it. And
Yeah.
The thing is,
by afford, I mean you need to have the money, but not just that. You need to think about whether or not you want to spend that money and
Yeah.
invest yourself, because people are trying to overtake each other all the time. You've got Sony out there making a VR headset. You've got Vive. You've got the Oculus. You've got so many people trying to overtake each other for the lead. I think right now it's the Vive.
the Vive.
kicking
The
ass.
Vive
That's
is
what I would
kicking
say
ass
is
at
the
moment,
best.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw recently. I'm not sure if this came up in E3, but they announced, Bethesda did, that they were going to make Fallout 4.
Yeah, we
VR.
spoke about it yesterday, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doom and Fallout 4 in VR.
That would be incredible if they did that properly.
Yeah. But with releases like Doom and Fallout 4 from Bethesda, and releases like this are on PC, Lone Echo, do you think things like that, releases like that have been announced this year, and VR has been quite a big, last year there weren't many VR things announced. It's only within the last year VR has really become heavy within the industry.
Yeah.
And do you think that this year with Lone Echo, with VR, Fallout 4 and Skyrim, Skyrim is in VR now as well as Doom, things like that. Do you think releases like this are going to encourage people who can't necessarily get VR so easily? Do you think it's going to encourage them to dedicate
Get
to
into the
getting
industry?
VR? Yeah,
I think all it's doing is just putting more on the market, so if you do get a VR headset, it's not just going to be for one game. I feel like too many VR releases are coming out recently. They're not... some of them I don't think will be finished, and when they release, they just kind of want to put something out there so VR headsets do get sold.
Well,
Yeah.
to play the other side there, though, if you have all of these old games that are being made VR, so Fallout, Skyrim, Doom, all these other things that have already been released on all consoles, PC, loads of different platforms. If you have all of these things that people have grown to love, but they weren't within the VR spectrum, and now they're being made into VR, you've got something that you can kind of like look at, kind of have a connection to.
Yeah.
And then also, it'll probably drive you even more to get into VR, I believe, because if you've really enjoyed Skyrim, and then suddenly you've got this gimmick of being able to immerse yourself properly, like, you know, view and everything in
you're going to
the game.
jump at that, aren't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you have old loves in VR, it's only really going to like create more positive publicity, isn't it? Really.
Oh, for sure. Like, I would love to play Skyrim in VR. Like,
go.
it's
Once
just
you're bored of
absolutely
it, though.
amazing.
Like, the thing with bringing it out on old games, like, people have played them way too many times. Like, I don't know if I would jump on a Skyrim VR because I've played through it so many times.
Yeah,
But
then again,
there are thousands of people who are still into Skyrim, even to this day.
and also
yeah.
they brought around the remastered edition, which rolled into markets quite recently, actually.
Yeah.
But what they did as well is even on consoles they've brought out mods and things for Skyrim, but they've kept things like that, like experiences like that, fresh by bringing in new ideas. And so you've played Skyrim once, maybe, you know, just the standard, the bog standard version. Then suddenly you've got the mods, and you play it through with mods. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, like, more and more mods come out, and it's like interesting every time you play it because of all these different things. You've got people making, like, you know, mods that are twice the size of the game itself, fully voice acted, and all it needs is the Skyrim engine, and you're playing something completely different. Basically, you're playing like new content that Bethesda didn't even create themselves, but you know, it's possibly just as good.
Yeah.
You know, in quality. But then you've also got VR rolling in, and that's like kicking up the interesting factor to 11. Like we've gone from bog standard modifications, then we've also got VR, all of these bundled into one big package with all the add-ons already pre-existed in the game.
Yeah.
You've just got like people coming back for loads of different reasons.
And so, do you feel more encouraged to invest in VR this year?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, more than any time, I am more encouraged to go for VR, but I haven't found that one thing that makes me think I need VR now. You know, like Skyrim in VR is awesome, Fallout in VR is awesome, and you know, even this this Lone Echo game looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's not at a point where I'm like, I need VR like in my life right now.
Yeah, of course.
I can still wait, you know.
That could probably prove my point, but also go on to the other side, which is like, while people have these old loves, there's also new and interesting experiences coming out just for VR.
Yeah.
And so you've got exclusivity. You've got people who come to VR looking to be a part of this new crowd. So there's the mainstream aspect, but there's also the fact that like you've got, I can't remember what the name was, but there's this new space one where you go around first-person shooter, and with that it looks completely amazing. Like the graphics look insane, and people might look at the trailers for that and be like, you can only play this if you've got VR.
Yeah.
And so that might drive them in order to like, you know, get into VR, get into the whole enterprise of VR.
Yeah.
And that will probably drive the you know, the companies behind VR forward in that regard.
Yeah, and seeing games like this, you know, from what VR was a year ago to seeing games like this at E3 this year, it's clear that VR is, you know, very quickly developing. And I'd like to see next year maybe a full-scale game in VR even, you know, where it's a full-on story, like, you know, 8 to 10 hour experience maybe, that you can do sitting or standing. Maybe next year we will see something like that as VR games are starting to expand like that.
Yeah, because what they're doing right now is, because it is a new gimmick, people don't really want to be doing too much like... I mean, immersions are well and good, but once you've got something as new as this, it's like when consoles first came out, it's like... They're interesting and they're exciting. It's just that you're not too sure about them just yet. And so people have things like these old loves coming in. Like the Batman thing. That wasn't too long, and that was in PS...
Yeah, it's PSVR.
Yeah, it was PlayStation VR. And that was pretty much just messing about with what they could do with it.
Oh, yeah.
That was a showcase and a half, wasn't it? That was like basically just saying, we can do this, hey, come along for the ride, basically. And so you've got that. And like all these other games that are already fleshed out into, you know, full size games that you can now play in VR.
Yeah. Right, so we'll move on to Ubisoft in just a second. I'm just going to list a couple more things that the PlayStation gaming show did announce. So there's a new
PC gaming show.
What did I say?
PlayStation gaming
I'm a
show.
fucking spastic and a half. So For PC gaming show, they also announced a new Mountain Blade game. It's a Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. I've only played one of the Mountain Blade games, and to be honest, not that into them. I don't think they control very well. So
to be around the time they were released, they were really damn good.
Yeah.
The multiplayer for what was it? Warband?
Yeah.
I know it's
It's the Warband's the one I've got actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the multiplayer for that. I kind of wanted to get into Warband just so I could play the multiplayer, but I was recommended after talking about it to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
They said that the multiplayer wasn't too great,
Mm-hmm.
but knowing that they've got a new Mountain Blade coming out now
Mm-hmm.
has got me really excited because they might actually kick up multiplayer.
Hopefully. I mean, I'd like to get back into that game, and be excited about that game.
One of the main features about Warband was that up until that point, if you wanted to own your own country, your own empire almost, and start taking over other lands and using your vast armies to come in and swarm other people's, you had to basically be like the other. You had to be the one that nobody liked. That you had to just out of nowhere be like a land pirate almost. Start just taking land, and you wouldn't have any flag. You wouldn't be royalty. You would literally just be some guy who's hired people, and suddenly you're starting to be this one dick who's just killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And so Warband brought it in that you would actually be, or you could potentially establish yourself as a royal noble who has their own empire.
Yeah.
And so you could actually have your own flag, which you could customize to your heart's content, and run that flag. And then you could do a kind of a civilization mesh where you could be diplomatic with other empires and things, or you could just straight steamroll them. Basically.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with this one.
Of course.
Yeah, so also there's a new expansion for Shadowverse. It's a card game if you don't know, called Wonderland Dreams. That's coming June 29th, 2017. It's a new card expansion, so anyone who plays Shadowverse, there's going to be a lot more cards coming your way for new gameplay. I don't play Shadowverse, so I'm not exactly sure what that gameplay's like, but I've played card games a lot online. And it'll be exciting for Shadowverse fans to see a new card expansion.
Yeah, card games are actually becoming more popular recently as well.
Yeah.
We've got Gwent, we've got Hearthstone, we've got loads of different things. We've got live action things as well, like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of video games behind that as well. I believe the video games weren't doing too well recently, but the card games in live action are still going strong.
Yeah, and throughout E3, loads of new card games on phone and PC have been announced. So the card game industry within the gaming industry is really, really busy this year. It really is.
Yeah.
Also, a game called Tunic. You play the little fox. That's a fun art style. Seemed quite interesting. Also, a game called Islands, but it's spelt with a Y instead of an I. Not exactly sure. That really confused me when I wrote it down. And I saw it. Not sure exactly why. Maybe that will just have something to do with the actual game, or maybe, I don't know, they just can't spell.
My guess is it's just stylised.
Yeah.
It's basically them putting their own flair on it.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
Also one called Griftlands, which is like a sci-fi RPG by the looks of things. These were all just short trailers that they showcased, so there wasn't a lot of interesting stuff for them to say about them.
So these indie things then? Or?
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Small scale indie games. Lawbreakers is coming, or it's an open beta on June the 30th, and it comes out the 8th of August on PC and PS4.
Was that the one that looked like Overwatch? It looked heavily like Overwatch. You had characters that did very similar things to people in Overwatch.
Would not be surprised. A lot of games, do overlap these days, don't they? Especially this isn't a MOBA, but you can see loads of characters intertwining in MOBAs, and you can see that in other game genres as well, so I would not be surprised. There's also Age of Empires, a definitive you know what I'm trying to say, edition. Definitive, that's it. Which Age of Empires hasn't actually been playable on any of the recent consoles in absolutely years.
True.
So it'll be for old gaming fans, the OG gamers who got into gaming when the whole industry kicked off. Age of Empires is going to be really exciting for them to get back into it. They said at the conference, it's been unplayable for 20 years.
Christ, this is a homecoming then.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people actually, personally, that are quite into Age of Empires, and they played all the very old editions.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking back when everything wasn't all about the graphics, it was more about new and interesting gameplay basically. Yeah. And even back then, they were pretty good games, to be honest. So I'm quite interested to see what they.
Yeah, I can't wait for the return. I've never played it, but seeing the gameplay and seeing how hyped some OG gamers are.
Exactly.
It looks like something I'd really like to get into, and there's a whole fully remastered soundtrack and all that stuff, new and improved gameplay, graphics, all that stuff. So they're basically bringing Age of Empires back, just with some minor improvements to make it good within the modern day of the gaming industry.
I think that's one of the things that like old fans of games worry about, isn't it?
Yeah,
They've taken
sure.
it and changed it completely.
Yeah, I do believe they're sticking very close to the original game,
Yeah,
if not just ramping up the graphics.
You definitely get like reviews of games and things, and you get a lot of criticisms coming around that say that they've taken what was already like perfection or whatever they say, and they've gone and changed it completely. It could even be that they've improved it, but because of like their old alignment with all these old games that they've played, it's kind of like fogged up their view.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So they haven't actually given us a date as to when that's coming, but it is confirmed. So very exciting within the PC gaming area of the gaming industry, and also the game called Ublitz, which is it was developed by 2 people. So it's a big project for just 2 people. Really interesting art style actually. And it's coming 2018 for PC and Xbox One. It reminded me a bit of what was that game where you've got your like little creatures and you have to farm them and like grow them, develop them, things like that. I can't remember what it's called, but
Slime Rancher?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Slime Rancher. It reminded me a little bit of that. You customize your own room, things like that.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you get these little ooblets and you grow them, you develop them, you things like that, and you have them follow around with you.
Given the reviews that Slime Rancher got, something like that will probably go up in a storm.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it's different to Slime Rancher, but it's still got that charm to it.
Yeah, of course.
So people are probably going to jump for that. So that's all about what the PC gaming show actually showcased, Quite a big variety there, as PC games always are. There's always a big variety within PC games, and it was very exciting to see some games return and some new games come over.
Yeah.
So their conference was very, very successful. But now, on to Ubisoft. Because Ubisoft, I like to say, is one of my favourite games companies, because some of my favourite games are from Ubisoft, but at the same time, Ubisoft pissed me off with their servers, and their servers are a meme. That's how bad their servers are.
Then again, it's a lot of companies have that problem, don't they? EA.
Yeah.
It's not just
EA's a meme as well.
It's not just the servers, it's like the lack of it went right. So when some games are made, you can tell like the passion and the effort that has been put into it, and whether they do that at Ubisoft or not, I just don't feel it. Like the games they put out, maybe not all of them, but so many of them, I'm just like, it just feels like they're just putting it out for money, and they're just unfinished. They just don't, like Unity, for example. Everyone knows about Unity. It kind of got left in the dirt, and I just feel like they do that with a lot of their games.
So how I'd explain that is, I feel like they had Assassin's Creed almost like on a conveyor belt, right? It was like factory made.
Yeah.
As in, like, they had a quota to fill, and so they just threw a few things together. As long as they've got hidden blade stabbing people,
people
they just threw it on the conveyor belt and had it straight to consumers.
Yeah.
I think they've ruined it. I mean, they made the good Assassin's Creed, in my opinion, the 2 and Brotherhood, but I feel like they made that legacy, but they're also destroying it themselves. Like, some of the new ones, I haven't played all of them, but they just aren't up to scratch. And as you said, it feels like they're just on a conveyor belt, bringing them out because they feel they have to. It doesn't feel like they're doing it to make a good game. Which,
to be honest, I thought Syndicate was one of the best ACs in recent years.
Yeah.
Obviously, Unity was a flop, but that was the first game on next gen. I know you can't really give that as a massive excuse, but you did see loads of bugs in gameplay, glitches, and things like that
I don't get why they
within
didn't
other
fix
games.
them. Just fix them.
Fix them, yeah, but at the same time, when you've got like Syndicate was announced a few weeks after Unity was released.
They were also doing Rogue around the same time, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit of a piss take though for those who invested in Unity and believed in it then just have them fuck it and just give up on it.
Assassin's Creed is returning, and we'll talk about that in a second, because I'm actually, I think we needed that year break of Assassin's Creed.
I'm hopeful though. I'm hopeful about the newer one.
Yeah, I'm actually, from the gameplay I've seen and from how much work they've put into it, it's been like 3-4 years in the making.
Yeah.
So they've actually put a lot of time and effort into this Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, the reason
and I think they're going to come back in a bang.
The reason I say that though is I feel like they became a bit complacent after you say Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood. Onwards from that, they came very complacent. They thought audiences would just munch up whatever as long as they slapped Assassin's Creed on the title.
Especially with Revelations, because of Ezio, obviously. He was probably the favourite protagonist, and Revelations obviously wasn't up to scratch with the first two in that trilogy.
They brought all the faces in and just thought, it'll be...
What did you guys think of Syndicate, though? Because I thought Syndicate was a very well made and polished game, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it's definitely more polished than some of the Assassin's Creeds we talked about. But
I thought it looked dull. It wasn't like Black Flag, for example. I don't think it was a better Assassin's Creed. It looked so much nicer, and it was in old times London, so it that may not have looked so tropical, but it just looked. It was just grayscale. It didn't. I didn't play it much because it didn't bring me in to want to play it.
I took that as a good thing. The fact it was grayscale, because isn't it set during the industrial era?
Yeah.
English industrial
so
revolution.
if it is dull and boring, then you can kind of see the dystopian feel of that era, can't you?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as we're already talking about Assassin's Creed, we might as well just go straight on to Origins. We might as well. As I said, I was hopeful for Origins, because, as I said before, they became complacent with their audience, but then they kind of took a step back, actually listened to people, and said, right, we do need to take a bit longer, try and figure this one out, and instead of just chuck a few ideas on a conveyor belt towards consumers, we do need to sit back a bit, have a little think, put a few things together, see how they work, and instead take a bit of time to make our next one instead of just try and rush it out to try and get some money. Even hardcore fans of Assassin's Creed, I think we're getting a bit fatigued by the series. We've seen it in Call of Duty as well. Even hardcore fans of the series are fatigued by Call of Duty by now, and they will go off it eventually. So I think it was a very, very good move taking this year out. And it does mean that this year is the 10-year anniversary of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So it all works out very well, and that's why they've called it Assassin's Creed Origins, because for the 10-year anniversary, they've decided to go back to the first ever assassin and tell the story as to how the assassins, were first founded. Which, for Assassin's Creed fans, I think, how can you not be excited about that?
Yeah.
I have very high hopes for the game. I think it's going to be a very well-made game. But even if it wasn't a very well-made game, fans are going to buy into that because they want to know how it all started. How this massive thing that's gone over thousands of years, how it all started and how their love of Assassin's Creed started almost.
Well, do you know what I love about Origins as a general concept for the idea? Is that with Syndicate and things, you've started having guns and things coming.
Yeah.
You've got all these cars and that, eventually being made around that time.
Yeah.
Everything basically went from Altair, that kind of time zone, and then went forwards, didn't it? Everything kind of got a bit more futuristic.
Progressively go
Same
forwards,
thing happened with Call of Duty, and look where their fan base led them
back.
And so everything, I feel like it's the natural order of things. Everything goes more futuristic as time goes on because they feel like that's the way forwards. But no, they took a minute, sat back, thought about it, and thought, sod it, why not go backwards in time? And that actually really excites me, because what they're going to have to do there is not rely on the current inventions, because obviously it's just there's probably not going to be any guns, obviously, because it's
of course not. It's ancient Egypt.
Exactly. It's
long before
way
guns,
back, right? So that forces them to be creative, and creativity is what you want in a game, isn't it? Because if you have a creative way of going about missions and things, instead of just yanking out a gun, oh, here's the gun that I've spent ages grinding for, bang. It's more sort of you have to be strategic, and also I saw in the trailer as well, they've got that little crossbow type thing that shoots 5 arrows at once, a bit like the duck foot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah?
Yeah.
That just spells to me that they've tried to be a bit more creative with the ways that you're...
In fact, for half an hour of gameplay they had after the Ubisoft conference, he unlocked a warbow, and this bow, he literally had 5 arrows that he put onto the bow, and it's basically a shotgun version of a bow.
Yeah.
Which was fucking awesome. Like one of the big dudes that are meant to be quite hard to take down came over to him. Granted, he was they've got different leveled people, as they did in Syndicate and as they have in most of the games, to be honest, most of Assassin's Creed games. But yeah, he came up to him, started attacking him, just pulled out 5 arrows, bam, in the face, dead.
See, that's one thing that I didn't like about
power.
Syndicate.
I was literally about to say that just sounds like they pull out a gun, one hit someone.
But you may say that, but they have made it a lot more difficult. You have to now like work for if you want to do like be one of those characters that do very clean kills, and you go around and you just like dab 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 dab, and everyone's dead. If you want to be that kind of character, you've now got to work for it. At the start of the game, your hidden blades aren't going to kill someone in one hit. Whether it's stealth or within combat, you have
Surely
to upgrade your hidden blades.
Surely
to
stabbing
make it good.
someone in the neck is going to kill someone. I
But
mean,
this is
not necessarily.
You think so? But this is the first ever assassin, so I'm assuming the technology it wouldn't be anywhere as near as good as
but
what
a
we've seen in
knife
other
to the
games.
neck or the
But
face.
it might be blunt, might be a bit broken. I don't know, but they've
Plus-
got that progression system in there where you're not just OP from the start.
Yeah, what I was going to say about the leveling system though is that I love games that have a skill element to it, like Hitman, right?
Yeah.
So nothing's leveled, but it's kind of like everything is challenging because of the way it's laid out, and they kind of did that with the original Assassin's Creed. That's why they were so good. Is that you've got all these different environments and things that were like incredibly new. Like you've got with Ezio and things like all this Italian stuff going on, and then you're going around. There's like cathedrals, massive structures and things. And you have to kind of like work your way around, not be spotted as best you can. And so with Origins, I kind of like hoped it would be. You don't have the best like technology, sure, but that just means you have to rely on your skill.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have to rely on your like stealth aspects, like because it's kind of like with horror games and things like you have to rely on being stealthy because if you try and take someone out in like 1-to-1 combat or even like if you're outnumbered, you're not going to survive, are you? I mean, like you don't have like masterful techniques that everyone's like gone through and gone over with you. Like you don't have a tutor that's just come up to you and been like, right, okay, this is how we're going to do this. This will help you take down like 5 people. No, you've got what is essentially like the original assassins who had to rely on like almost instinct. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the leveling system takes away from that to some extent.
Yeah.
Like with Destiny and that, it's kind of like the guns look amazing, right? But they don't feel powerful if you've gone into the wrong area at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So you've got this like amazing thing, like with this Assassin's Creed Origins, you might have like the most amazing thing you've just unlocked, like this warbow, and then suddenly you go up to someone who's like massively overleveled, maybe even like the same sort of body build as your character. You go up, you shoot him, but then it barely takes any
It's
health
tickle,
away.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that takes away some of the immersion slightly. It takes away some of like the actual like gameplay.
Yeah, and you want to feel badass when you play these games as well.
Exactly.
And if you just tickle someone, you're like, well,
Yeah, there's no
fuck my life.
One word for me though ruins this Origins, and that is boats. I stopped playing
Really?
Assassin's Creed. I stopped playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag before I got to the end because although the boating mechanics and stuff was cool, like I love a good sea shanty, I love pirates, they're my stuff, but not in the Assassin's Creed
See, here's
games.
the thing though, cannons won't exist. There won't be like huge.
Yeah.
No, but
There
you
are-
saw
the
they
big guns kind of
I
ships.
don't know if they're gonna have them in like you can sail them, but
Kind of like
in
rowboats.
the thing that they had like narrow boat kind of things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just don't.
Canoes.
If
Yeah,
they're
they do
optional,
have- they
I'll
do
be
have small
fine,
boats.
but
Yeah.
I really don't like fucking boats.
They do
in
have small
Assassin's
boats in the game,
Creed.
but like they showed it in the gameplay. But it's not like you don't need to be on a boat if you don't
Yeah.
want to.
Piss
You
me
know,
off.
it's completely
But
optional.
there'll always
Like
be
the
that one
gondolas.
mission.
The gondolas
Yeah,
are
maybe.
quite cool in Brotherhood when you're in Venice, or
Hmm.
2 was it?
Mm-hmm.
Either one, probably both to me. Like they were okay, but Black Flag pissed me off because I'm like,
That really
I
fucked
don't
me off, yeah.
want to
Fair enough.
play
Well-
a boating game. I want to play Assassin's Creed where I'm running up buildings,
often
not
I would
going
try and
across
rush. I
oceans.
found myself trying to rush like the ship
Yeah,
missions and
for
things. But then when
sure,
it came to like the actual,
I
like,
found them the
assassination
hardest
missions.
as well.
Yeah,
The missions where you have to like raid the forts, they were hard as shit, and I couldn't get past.
It's because
some
you
of
come
them.
into the game expecting like the standard like Assassin's Creed gameplay.
Yeah.
You get in there and suddenly you're playing Ship the Simulator.
I get they
Like,
tried changing it up, but I'm like, no.
But
Well,
yeah, I'm hoping that
jetpacks.
Origins because of like the difference in technology and
Yeah.
things like that. I'm hoping that it will
Well,
take it completely.
just a
different.
final point about Origins. They're trying to treating it. They said as a little bit more of an RPG in the aspect of that you can decide what you specialize in. So if you're the kind of person who really likes stealth, you can create your character and like level up and skill them up to become very stealthy. If you want to be a very heavy person, then you can just go in full blazing swords everywhere and things like that. You can upgrade your person or your assassin to be good at that. And if you want a bit of if you want to be good at stealth but also a bit of bow action as well, you can integrate the two. So they are treating it very much as they want you to play the assassin that you want to play.
But I feel like it's Assassin's Creed. I feel like if you don't want to play it for the stealthy assassin, lightweight, running around shooting bows and stuff, I feel like it's not the game for you.
That's how Assassins started. Really, during
that
Altair's era, when the Assassins sort of became sort of a major thing, it was more stealth based.
I feel like you're playing the wrong game if you're picking up Origins to go, oh, I want to be a tank.
Yeah, but that is one thing that I hated about the recent games. Is one, because they didn't give me much choice as to what weapons I could use. Especially in Syndicate, there was only a couple different weapons you could use, so you were very limited as to what you can do in combat. And two, I do love the stealth aspect of Assassin's Creed. That is, why obviously you said that is why you play Assassin's Creed. For the awesome stealthy assassin aspect. But at the same time, in Assassin's Creed 3, for example, every now and then I would just go into town and start a ruckus and beat a load of people up just because it's fun to blow off steam. And I think a lot of players like to do that within the game, story missions and things like that. They like to just go in, let's just go and beat some people up. So I do like how they're giving you that option. Yeah, at least.
See, my worry with that is it's going to be specialization that you got in Unity or something like that, where you can be one-handed. No, one-handed is the best. You get the most damage, you get most everything.
I didn't even give a shit. I was wailing around a battle axe.
Well, that's fair.
Great fun.
If you play a game just for the sake of no shits given, you go for whatever you want. No min-maxing coming in here. But for the people who do actually want to get the maximum stats on weapons and things, they'll go for a very specific path. But especially in Syndicate and that, when I was playing it, I found that again you could specialise in either stealth or combat. But honestly, you could play either character, and you'd be relatively a jack of all trades. You wouldn't be a master of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, late game, yes, but by the time you've got late game, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
You got what was it, Eve?
Eva or something. Something like that.
Yeah,
in,
and she late game she can turn invisible if you stay stationary.
Yeah.
Which that's debatable as to
little bit
Probably
ropey.
irrelevant.
But anyways, so late game you can go invisible as long as you're stationary. But what's the point? There's no missions to do with that now.
Yeah. But as gameplay mechanics go,
You can be a bird, can't you?
Yeah, well, you have in Far Cry Primal you had the owl that goes out and recons for you. They've brought in the eagle for this one, which
Not a fan.
I mean
Looks kind of cool, but
it's a nice
I
concept,
don't really
but
care, to be honest.
that's gonna go the way of Ubi towers. Every single Ubisoft tower, you climb the thing and you can see this area of the map. It's the same thing with the eagle, the
I
birds
prefer
now.
to go and
Oh,
do
you
it.
have a bird that can scout and it shite.
So I'd rather
To be
climb
honest-
to the top of a building and scout the area myself, rather than
To be
just
honest,
fly
I
around.
don't really give a shit. To be honest, it's a feature. It'll help you assault camps, but I don't think it's really game breaking or game changing feature.
Yeah, see, just to play the other side of the field then. If are they completely removing the towers then, the
No,
synchronized
they
towers?
wanted to keep them in because it's Assassin's Creed. They wanted to stay true to Assassin's Creed style, but there
Half
isn't
the
as
course at
much
this point.
use for them this time.
Yeah, because what I was hoping is that because I don't know, I feel like they have gotten a bit stale on me. They take away from me just running along rooftops and suddenly I see on my minimap, I'm going to a mission. However, there is also a tower to my left, which I'm going to have to stop on my my journey, in order to climb this thing for a few minutes, go up top, and then look around. And that's cool. That was cool. Back in the earlier Assassin's Creeds, but at this point it's just got stale on me.
Yeah,
So
they've done it in
it's
too
more
many games
mature.
as well.
Exactly. So I feel like if they were to have this bird completely replace those towers and just send it out in an area, just be right, I want to scan this area and have the minimap filled out.
But then you'll get bored of the bird. It's the same thing. You'll get bored of the bird, and then they'll bring something else in, and
Well, as
then
long
they'll
as they
bring
keep it
something else
interesting,
in.
yeah, that's what I was
but
thinking. It forced them to be creative.
yeah.
I'll tell you what I do like about this one is I loved AC3. I don't know, a lot of people don't like that one.
No, I loved
But
it.
I personally loved it. It's one of my
Hunting was
favourites.
introduced in AC3.
Yeah, and the bow mechanics in AC3 I didn't particularly love, to be honest. it was very limited. But in
Yeah.
this one, you can do all sorts. You can get your bow out whenever, and like in the gameplay they showed, you can like jump out of a fucking tree and like shoot a guy in midair, which is
Ranged combat.
badass.
Ranged combat was fairly recent for Assassin's Creed, actually. Like
Yeah.
you know, in Assassin's Creed 3 specifically, because I think it was like towards what was it like Brotherhood, Revelations around that era. You start getting like crossbows and things,
Yeah.
and then with 3, you suddenly got like this Native American kind of styling of weapons and things. You're obviously like hunting, so that would be like they kind of want to keep historical like context in there, but also they've got all these like cool features basically. So you start out like in the first ever Assassin's Creed ever made. You've got like melee weapons, but they're obviously even then they were quite basic, just like your hidden blade, which couldn't be used in combat. Hidden blade was substituted for a sword if ever you went in combat and got seen, that kind of thing. Then eventually it got to the point, I think it was in 2, that you could use the hidden blade in combat, and then eventually you got ranged
That was fun
weapons.
as hell.
Exactly, and then eventually you got ranged weapons, and in 3, ranged weapons were only just starting being like really cool for the actual like whole system. And so then they probably weren't as optimized as they are now, but now that they've kind of got everything in order, they can probably do a lot more with it, to be honest.
Yeah, so we're going to have to move on because Ubisoft did have a big conference. We're only on the first point, but Ubisoft did partner with Nintendo this time to make a game. I'm going to talk about them in the Nintendo episode next time because it seems quite fitting, and as we're running out of time for this episode, we'll put it in the next one. But The Crew 2. Now, I didn't like The Crew, to be honest. I thought it was really fucking boring. Like
Repetitive is what I'd say.
I got about 3-4 hours in and just like I never touched it again.
See, because
I loved it.
Yeah.
Oops. Thought it was great.
But yeah, Xbox do this thing called Game for Gold, which is basically as long as you're a gold member, you get free games.
Yeah.
And at one point they did The Crew.
Yeah.
And me and a couple of friends picked it up and played it for a while, and it was quite good. But then it started getting really, really repetitive. As in races, cool. I mean, you're racing with a few friends and things that you can ram each other off the road. Haha. Then it gets to the point where you're doing the same things over and over and over again, and then suddenly you see that there's like different races. You've got like street racing, off-road, and then that like brings something back. But then you're like, okay, this is way too far gone to be enjoying this.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have a friend who enjoyed it to the point of completion, but you have to be a very select audience.
I did it. I thought the story was well worth getting to the end. I thought the story in it was surprisingly, I bloody liked it. It was really good for a driving game, especially. Like, I thought the story was, they nailed it, and it was. I did want to keep going back and playing it, and I played it with a friend, and we both enjoyed it, and it was. We picked it up for free, so I guess we can't really complain. But I actually really liked it, and I cannot wait for Crew 2.
See, this one kind of reminds me of Steep in a way because you can play. It's not just cars this time. It's not just confounded to cars. You've also got motorcycles, boats, planes,
big off-road trucks.
Yeah, big off-roaders. So this time it does look like you've got a lot more variety. And like with Steep, I love from what I've played of Steep.
Ubisoft
I
made
love
Steep,
it.
didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, funny that.
Yeah, from what I've played of Steep, I love it. But it was just weird because I don't normally love like snowboarding games and like skiing games. But when you mash it all into a big open world and you've got the option to switch between them all, I suddenly like really enjoy it.
Something new, isn't it? Something new to experience.
And if you're bored of one
Keeps
thing,
it
you can then move
changed
to
up,
another thing. Yeah. So for The Crew 2, I've got higher hopes for it.
Plus they're
personally.
competing, aren't they? They're competing with like Forza Motorsport, for
Oh
example,
yeah,
which
Forza
are
and Need for
bringing
Speed
out
this
the
year.
Porsche.
Looks
Yeah.
beautiful. Some of the stuff. I mean, it didn't look as realistic, I think, but it looked beautiful. Like the cities, the off-road, like the water. I love water effects in a game, and it looked really nice. And
the open world is bigger than the first one.
the first one was huge.
So yeah, it's going to be absolutely massively expansive this time. It's coming early 2018 on PS4, Xbox, and PC. You can sign up for a beta now. And now,
Back in a
the
moment.
beta. See you later. The beta will be open within a few months, I assume. Later this year, I would reckon probably. They won't have the beta too early. But I don't know. What are you guys' overall thoughts? Do you think like this is going to be massively improved from the first one?
It would have to be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because they would probably have to take the criticisms that the first one got,
sure, yeah.
take that and improve their game.
Mm-hmm.
Is probably what they've done, and that's probably why they've gone for a Crew 2, because they want to show that they can make a car game.
Yeah.
They want to show that you don't go to Ubisoft and take them for granted if ever they make a car game.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like a proving point in this.
Yeah, I
point.
feel
So
like they've got to redeem themselves.
They're going to
almost.
bust out the guns, aren't
It wasn't liked by everyone. It was liked by some, but not everyone. And I feel like they feel like they've got to redeem themselves and make a game that is liked by everyone. Like Forza,
Yeah.
And do you reckon this could bring Ubisoft into the driving genre in the gaming industry?
Well, I mean, you're going up against Forza and Need for Speed, two of the most well-known franchises, let alone in the driving game area. But I think they got big competition. But I feel like changing it up with planes and boats as well, I feel like that could bring something very
I feel like
different
competition
and
like
unique
that is
to the
healthy
table.
though.
Yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
With the complacency that we've seen in like some games that Ubisoft have done, it forces them to meet demands, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It kind of forces them to look at what their audience wants and meet it.
Yeah.
So that's that.
So high hopes for Crew 2 all around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Skull and Bones,
Ooh.
which is, to be honest, I've wanted something like this since AC4 came out. Because AC4, and the boat mechanics, a lot of people have criticisms about them. And the fact that it wasn't really Assassin's Creed. But they have gone to a completely standalone version this time. It's a pirate game, and it's going to have the same kind of it's the same kind of concept as AC4. You on the big ship, you can control the cannons, things like that. And it's just a big. I don't want to compare it to Black Wake because it's not like Black Wake at all, but it is in the fact that you're stuck in a PvP like arena. And you've got to fight with your friends.
It's old school World of Warships.
Kind of,
That's the
yeah.
kind of vibe
Just
I'm
Ubisoft did, yeah. And you can play with your friends. And
Oh wow!
what are you looking at?
Picture.
Just a picture.
Oh yeah. And basically, from what I got is you're not when you play with your friends, you're not all on the same ship, like doing different jobs. But you're part of the same galleon, so you've got 4 of your friends. There's 5 of you in that one group of ships, and then you control the ship as you would in like AC4 kind of. And
Warships.
it's kind of like what the game mode they showed was you've got to collect as much treasure as possible, and you've got different kinds of ships, like massive ships that are like, heavily armoured with loads
So it's
of guns.
not necessarily
like,
open world. There is an objective. To it.
There is an objective, yeah.
See-
I really want an open world version, maybe.
Do you know what I
but-
really want?
What?
Is that I have very fond memories of Sid Meier's Pirates.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful game
Mhm.
in almost every way. Literally, it was just you as this guy who went around taking over ships, adding them to your fleet, going into taverns and places and just hiring crew and all
Might
that kind of
try
different
that.
thing.
Sounds good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Right now, it probably doesn't look great like compared to more recent games, but it is absolutely pristine
Yeah.
gameplay wise. You could literally get to the point of it's like Civilization, but if you were like a freelance within the realms of Civilization. So there's different empires and things that will fight over each other while you're going around. But you could get in high standing with one of these people by fighting someone for them, and then that may lead to you getting with the princess of that empire.
Yeah.
And how you would do that is a mini game where you would dance with the princess at a ball you would be invited to.
Nice.
And it say you were jailed by an enemy empire or something, or you did some sort of crime, and then you got jailed for it. You would then have to escape, and your crew would help you out
Yeah.
because they would bust in and help try and safely escort you.
That sounds good, actually.
If they had something like that, I would be completely on board.
Yeah.
I would be just,
On board.
Well, hey.
but no, I would throw myself on there.
Yeah.
Literally, something similar to that would just bring me back to those memories. I'm sure many people have played that game,
Yeah.
so that would probably bring them back too.
Need to
Yeah.
play
Well,
that.
this one is
Sounds
objective. It's a 5v5 team-based game mode.
good. World of Warships.
So yeah, it is a lot like World of Warships, where you're shooting each other down, and the idea is you need to get as much treasure as possible, and a team with the most treasure at the end of the round, who then escape as well, will win the match. So I don't know. I've been kind of wanting something from Ubisoft like this for quite a while personally, and it does look like the trailer hinted at threats in the sea as well. Like at the end of a trailer, they showed a huge ass kraken.
Oh,
So I don't know whether that would be
Hooked.
within the game hooked. I don't know whether that would be within the game, as in, you're in the middle of combat, you're fighting the 5 other opponents, and then all of a sudden, fuck, there's a Kraken! You're all got to work together now to take that Kraken down. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting game mechanic, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was going to say that, would that bring in, kind of teamwork then? Kind of if you're all in the same fleet and you're kind of all going about doing your own thing, they would have to obviously come together in order to take down this thing. But is it kind of like a mini boss kind of thing, all these creatures?
That would be cool. I mean, they haven't actually shown they only showed a Kraken in a cinematic.
Yeah.
So I'm just assuming and theorizing what could happen.
See, because by the sounds of it, it sounds like it's kind of like the mainstream now is objective kind of based games, Overwatch, how it's the payload and all Team Fortress 2. It was kind of you've got all these different things that you had to go off and do, but there wasn't particularly any massive story you had to follow. I mean, there's story there if you want to find it, but there's no sort of storyteller feeding it to you. And so I feel like it's a matter of opinion here, but I definitely would prefer if you had something like that, kind of like Black Wake almost, but with a story to it. So you're all on this ship, there's an objective for you, but it's kind of open world, there's more things to do, but I don't know, I feel with open world co-op, everyone focuses too much on the little things, they focus on that one gimmick, they focus on that one thing you can do, and then they don't worry about anything else. I feel if you do have a wide range of things, because that is what it's about, isn't it? You want a wide range of things to do to keep you entertained and interested in a game.
Yeah.
And I feel if they did make something like that, pirates are great. If pirates are done properly,
pirates are the best.
There are a lot of
Pirates are
pirate
amazing.
games this year at E3.
Yeah,
a lot
I mean,
of them.
Black Flag pulled in many gamers because they thought, I want to be a pirate, but I also want to be an assassin. I can do 2 in 1, that kind of thing. But if they had kind of a game where you and some friends were pirates, you were on a ship, you had all your own jobs.
Take me now, take my money.
Shut
up and take my money.
Yeah,
Take it.
that kind of thing.
Mine.
But not only were you just fighting people in just one game, there's there's a timer up there, you've got a certain amount of time to kill the hell out of each other. But it's you've got a quest log, right? You've got things to do. You can go and steal a ship that maybe some of you can jump on and follow along behind, or you can steal cargo from that, and then you can go off and sell that to ports and things.
I think you just want to be a pirate in real life.
Basically,
that's
why not have a simulator of that?
Why not go out and be a pirate? Fucking do it.
But I mean, games are supposed to bring you into another reality that you can't do in real life
You
because
should make that game. You shouldn't have said it. Cut this out.
Yeah.
Make that your
But,
game.
Take that idea.
games, I feel are supposed to immerse yourself in a world which you can't experience liably, in real life, right? They're supposed to take you to places that there's no other.
Yeah.
Skyrim, you're not going to
Possibly.
be able to shout in dragon tongue.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
at least
I
there's
mean, you
not
could, but you'd be frowned upon.
Yeah.
Like a
You
bit of
look
an
a bit
idiot.
I mean,
weirdo.
unless there's people I haven't met yet, that can do that, then yeah, there you go. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a matter of opinion, clearly.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's so many things that games could do. It's just they're following trends is the thing. In that kind of creativity is a must, and that's kind of what Ubisoft have kind of stepped back and be that's what we need basically.
Well, we're going to have to move on, but as I say, that game is coming autumn 2018, and it's, a lot of people are excited for it, me included, but the only problem, or the only thing I'm worried about is how much replayability it will have. They'll have to add in new different game modes and things like that to keep it interesting. 5v5 is cool, but it's going to get
So that's just
boring
my
after a
point,
while.
is that everything is a one-trick pony now.
Yeah.
And because of the trend setting, everyone's going for that one-trick pony because they know it works. But
yeah,
it'll
but
only
it's
work
not the that may be the thing, but you can go on other games for other things. You don't have, I mean, it'd be kind of convenient to have it all in one game, but I feel like if one game did it all, you'd. Yeah.
Then again, that makes for a
else.
powerful experience. If something wants just full ratings, they want to be critically acclaimed, they want to be massive, then they don't focus on the one thing that you can do is shoot the absolute ever living fuck out of each other just for 15 minutes and see who can kill each other the most. It's more about immersing yourself in this kind of world, and then maybe telling you a story. Some games can basically not handhold you with the story, and you still have a bloody good time with it.
Yeah.
Because it's just such an involved world.
Okay. sorry to cut you off there.
That's fine.
We've got 3 more titles. I'm just going to blast through Skylink because it's an interesting one, but there's not much to talk about, so we'll just quickly go into that. So, Skylink Battle for Atlas. The first thing I thought when I saw the gameplay was No Man's Sky. It looks a lot like No Man's Sky, graphically. But, thing that I'm interested in is, it's a lot... Did you ever see or play Skylanders, where you got, like, you know, the characters, and then you put them on, and then you can play them in-game?
They're churning out so much.
It looks a lot like that, man. You attach this ship to the top of your controller. I'm not sure how it's going to work. It's out for Switch, Xbox, PS4. Is it out for PC as well? And for PC. So I have no idea how it's going to work for PC. I have no idea how it... Are you going to get like an attachment that you have to buy to put it on?
Probably a USB or
It probably is going to be an accessory or something, yeah.
Yeah, to make more money.
I know Disney jumped on that bandwagon with Disney Infinity and that kind of
stuff.
But
yeah, you put it on top of your controller, then I assume you play it in
That's
game.
so old school.
Yeah, that's literally just my point though, is the fact that it's like trend that's been set. Someone's following along with it because they know it works.
Those
Kids
kind of games have kind of died off now, to be honest. I haven't seen anything like that for years.
Yes, because nothing new's come. I mean, they've got the new Skylanders, haven't they? But like, no one's really heard too much about that because it's kind of died down. But if something can like completely blast the genre again, we're talking about like, you know, kids love toys, but they could also love toys that move, like you know, things they can interact with.
Yeah, it's kind of opening up Ubisoft's audience as well, I suppose, because they're quite a mature, rated company in general.
No, they're definitely
Creed,
bringing in all audiences.
Yeah, especially with the Nintendo partnership now as well. You know, but that is coming autumn 2018. It looks... I don't know how it's going to work, to be honest, but I assume we'll get more information later on this week. Yeah, early next year. So, Steep has also got an expansion, a year on from Steep now. They added a new expansion, which they did to, they did to the Division and things like that as well last year as well. So we were expecting something like that. It's a kind of Olympic. You play as an Olympic in the Winter Olympics. So something that you'd expect from Steep. To be honest, from the first when it first released. But they brought that as an expansion.
You figured it was going to be a heavily competitive game, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing game.
It's amazing.
It's a great game.
If anyone, I saw in a comment on Facebook, I mean, everyone's allowed their own opinion, but someone said average graphics, and I'm like, mate, I run it on PC on the lowest settings, and it is a breathtakingly beautiful game. If you are blind if you think it is average, it is stunning.
And to be honest, most people playing Steep
I play it
have
on
finished
a
it by
shitty
now.
PC, and it
Yeah,
looks
I know,
great.
but I'm just saying if people with low-end computers and things might think that because they're not running on recommended
But yeah, most
settings.
people who've played Steep have finished it by now, so this is a good chance to get back into the world of Steep with some new story and with some new missions. So anyway, 2 more titles here. Far Cry 5. You guys excited for that? You guys pumped for another Far Cry game?
I'm more excited to go play Far Cry 3, to be honest. I've been meaning to pick that up and go play it.
But no, Far Cry 5, they've definitely gone away from the whole stereotype, haven't they? It's always been like you versus natives and all that kind of stuff.
No, it's you versus black people. That's what I've kind of found from.
It's like, I mean,
there's a minority. Go kill them because you're a white American bloke.
Far Cry 4 broke away from that slightly, but you've still got the same sort of feel, haven't you? It's kind of like you're in a foreign land, you're fighting foreigners.
You're an American dude that goes to a foreign place, shoots them all, and goes.
Yeah, just so happens to also be very specialised with that kind of tactic as well.
Shall be picking up.
But with Far Cry 5, I feel like they've definitely gone for a different atmosphere, and instead of just going straight up like we're going to shoot some foreigners, it's more let's go to home country and sort our own.
Yeah, and it's set in the USA, obviously.
Yeah, let's fight our own demons for once, right?
Yeah, it's set in Montana, and it is confirmed that the main enemy you're fighting is a Christian cultist.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting, very interesting, especially in the modern day where it's like you've got these minority groups. Like a lot of people are at the moment, especially in the UK, are concentrating on Muslims as all being terrorists.
Why not some self-reflex?
But yeah, exactly.
Get some that in there.
I think this game's gonna be a big eye opener to certain people within the gaming industry because a lot of people at the moment, as certain religions are being minoritized as being dangerous terrorists, and I think this game is kind of putting a flip on that and saying, well, Christianity could also be a cultist
religion as a general
religion,
sense. Yeah,
exactly.
It can go very bad, or it can be a community builder.
Yeah,
it depends on how you take it, and also it depends on the people in charge of it, more or less.
Yeah, and you will be playing with different characters that help you. Obviously, in a Far Cry game, you always meet these iconic characters that you play with throughout the game. You've got a dog that you.
Love
But you
dogs.
have something like that,
Yeah, I saw
yeah.
a trailer for that. That was really good.
Yeah, and normally,
Rather
like, in
have a
Far Cry
real dog.
Primal, you, like, go out and tame the animal.
See,
But in this one, it looks like the dog is with you throughout the whole game.
yeah, see, what I worry about things like that is it's gonna die.
Yeah.
I always go to a game
Yeah.
where, like, it looks so cute, but it's gonna get shot in the face with me watching on my deathbed.
Rather get a real dog, to be honest.
It kind of like stops you
They get
from
Far Cry 5.
making attachments to things, really, because you're like, it's gonna die. I better just like forget it exists.
Yeah. But along with the storyline of, you know, these cultists have taken over this area. There's no contact with the outside world. It's so remote that you can't even call the police. So people are scared.
They
It's
are
up
the
to
police.
you. Yeah, exactly. It's up to you and these characters that you meet. Like there's a woman with a badass sniper and a guy who
Boom,
flies in a
boom,
plane,
boom.
things like that. Yeah, it's up to you and these people to revolt against these people and take them down. So it's a classical Far Cry badass game. You're blowing shit up. You can still do all the classical Far Cry things. Go
Yeah.
hunting, run people over with tractors and shit like that. And do all the fun Far Cry stuff, but it is in a very different setting to what they've
I'm
done
very
before.
interested
So.
to see what's new though, because
yeah.
they've done wingsuits, they've
Mhm.
done like, you know, vehicles. I mean, they kind of had helicopters, but it was kind of like, you know, like almost
Yeah,
like an
it was
improvised
like a,
helicopter.
yeah,
So if they have properly functioning vehicles, like, you know, cars and things, but they have it like you can actually go around in a weaponized helicopter or something with machine guns and that. If you have something a bit more along those lines, I mean, you're stepping into the realms of other games almost, but I am very interested to see what's new.
yeah, and they
rather
normally
than,
do add
yeah.
something quite new, don't they, to each
Every
game.
time, yeah.
So it'll be very interesting. I'm very excited for Far Cry 5. No official release date that I've written down. I'm sure there probably is a release date that I've just missed.
For sure.
So I'll put it up on screen if there is one. But final release, Beyond Good and Evil 2. I didn't know this game existed.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, but yeah, apparently loads of people, like, that was an emotional part of the conference, to be honest. A lot of people got, like, yeah, especially developers.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
been a
people-
long time in the making.
People rack it up for that. That
Yeah.
was, yeah.
It looks fucking awesome. It's like a, if you don't know, I mean, how could you not know, but I somehow didn't. It's basically like a sci-fi, like, that you'd probably know better than me, but it's like a sci-fi open world action adventure with a storyline. I don't exactly know
Yeah.
what it entails, but all I know
I'm
is
not
there's
as
a talking
familiar as
monkey.
other
It's pretty cool.
I'm not as familiar as other people, but
Yeah.
it's definitely far fetched. It's like it goes back to my point about taking a story that's so far from, well, not exactly so far from, but like reskinning reality almost. It's not like, I mean, there is like, you know, some things that you wouldn't get in real world, but that's just because it's like symbolic of things that do happen in real life. And so it was kind of like an emotional roller coaster to go through the story itself, because it was so well put together and things, and people just like went through it and enjoyed it for what it was. It was an
Yeah.
experience, and so having a second one come in is just good news.
Yeah, and it does seem like one of those games where it's got a bit of everything in to please everyone
Yeah.
in the whole setting of it. But a little bit more information. It's been 15 years, or about 15 years, almost 15 years since the last game. So yeah, it is a massive comeback to the series. Also, it takes place in like a distant solar system with multi-ethnic and multi-racial societies. That's where the talking monkeys come in. The talking, like there's a big talking like pig or something. So it is, as you say,
Yeah.
very far fetched.
Like I say though, it's like reskinned reality.
Yeah.
So we've got like different racial things, but like it's not as obvious. It's not like the same type of people, but like different colours. It's like Mass Effect. You've got so many different races, and then there's like race cards played and things, and it's like, you know,
Yeah,
you can
and-
get quite involved with it. Honestly.
Yeah, but also on the open world sci-fi kind of area, there are like massive starfaring vessels that you can. I don't know if you can drive or you can own. I'm not exactly sure, but they did say there are massive starfaring vessels in huge, dangerous environments. So it is a very big, massive open world with a lot of different aspects to it. So as I say, I've never really heard about the game much. I only just found out at like this Ubisoft conference, but it does seem very, very different.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to one of my other points is that remember when I said that games that have a large range of things, like for the fact that Beyond Good and Evil is like, you know, you said it was something for everyone. It had like a little bit for everyone, because it's got such a range of qualities to it. It makes it an enjoyable game.
Yeah.
Because no matter what you go into games for, there's something for you. So, you know, maybe you go into it thinking it's something, and then like maybe you're, you know, you're coming away not as attracted to it as you were before, because it's not what you were expecting.
Yeah.
But there's something for you. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, but it does look at like from the gameplay they showed, like you've got jetpacks and all sorts that you can like traverse the terrain with, and it does look like it's very well put together on the level design, things like that. So all in all, it does look like one of those games like Beyond Good and Evil is like one. Some people have said like one of a gem of game, like gems of the gaming.
Yeah, it's almost like
industry, like
it's almost like an obscure gem.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people know about it. It's just like some people just haven't even heard its name. Like, you know, you weren't aware of it until the second one was announced. But yeah, it was quite a good game, and not many people really, not many people really knew about it, really.
Right, well, we are probably going to have to wrap it up here anyway, because I think the fucking video is about 2 hours long by now, and I haven't even edited it down yet. So, thank you very much for joining me. It was, as I say, there was a fuck ton of stuff released by both PC Gaming, the PC Gaming Show, and Ubisoft. So, it was 2 massive conferences, and next time we've got Sony and Nintendo, which both of them, I haven't seen the Nintendo conference yet, I've got to go watch that. But I know the Sony one had a lot of their exclusives, but it wasn't absolutely loads, like Ubisoft and the PC Gaming Show was.
Yeah.
So next episode's probably it'll be the final one. This is probably going to be the longest episode we've done, just because there were so many different releases and so much to talk about. So thank you very much for watching. If you have anything to say or any opinions that you want to put in the comments down below, go for it. I'll be encouraging it throughout all the episodes, because if we can get people involved here and get a community involved, that's what E3 is all about. It's bringing gaming community together. And sharing a common interest. So if you have any ideas or opinions as to what we've spoken about today, whack it in the comments down below. I will be active and talking about whatever you guys fancy talking about. So thank you very much for joining.
Cool.
Any closing thoughts before I go and finish it all completely?
Ubisoft pissed me off. That should be their motto. It rhymes and everything. Made for a t-shirt.
No, yeah, I'm hopeful for the newest releases.
Yeah, I'm always quite
I'm
hopeful.
Just hoping I'm not let down.
And then I get cut down every year.
Exactly, yeah.
So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I shall say goodbye.